Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're going to do something honestly pretty incredible. We are going to put you directly into the combat boots of a United States Marine to experience the escalating and frankly unimaginable weight of leadership across their entire career. We're talking about tracking this journey from day one all the way up through 11 ranks of grueling service. We'll explore exactly how physical suffering transforms into this immense psychological gravity and how a totally raw recruit eventually evolves into a master strategist.
So let's dive right in at rank 1, private. You sign the paper, you raise your right hand, and the literal second you step onto Parris Island's iconic yellow footprints, boom, your old life is over. You don't have a name anymore. You are a recruit. This kicks off 13 weeks of sprinting, screaming yes sir, and just surviving. The Marine Corps essentially cuts you off from everything you've ever known to rebuild you from the ground up through relentless physical training, rifle marksmanship, and combat drills. And it all culminates in the 54-hour crucible. We're talking no sleep and almost no food. If you make it, you are in the title. But those 4 words, United States Marine, they cost you absolutely everything you had.
But as crazy as it sounds, stepping onto those yellow footprints is really just the beginning.
Because once you hit the fleet as a private first class, man, the reality check hits you like a freight train. It is exhausting. As a PFC, affectionately known as a boot, literally everyone knows you're new. Your boots are way too shiny, your haircut is way too fresh. Senior Marines look at you the way made men look at a hang-around. You're essentially free labor, pulling the absolute worst duties imaginable. We're talking fire watch at 0200 in the morning or cleaning the barracks head with a toothbrush. You are getting paid almost nothing and working around the clock. But, and this is absolutely vital to understand, you are learning the Marine Corps from the absolute bottom up. Because honestly, that's the only way this institution actually works.
Which brings us to the next critical phase, the backbone of the Corps, the NCO ranks.
Now, what's really fascinating about this next phase of a Marine's evolution is how the invisible weight kind of shifts. It moves from your own physical suffering to suddenly answering for the mistakes of other people. At rank 3, Lance Corporal, you're in arguably the most dangerous rank, not in combat but in attitude. You run primarily on sarcasm, spite, and dangerous amounts of caffeine, proudly forming the invisible Lance Corporal underground. But if something goes wrong, you are blamed first. It's tough. You have responsibility without authority, which is basically the most frustrating place to be. But then you earn the crossed rifles of a corporal, rank 4. You become a non-commissioned officer. Finally, you have the authority to match that immense responsibility, and the Marines underneath you will actually do what you say.
4. Just 4 Marines. But as a corporal, you are now entirely responsible for that fire team. Their gear, their fitness, their discipline. Yeah, that is entirely your problem now. If one of your guys shows up late, you answer for it. You're no longer just looking out for yourself. And let me tell you, that weight is heavier than any pack they made you carry at boot camp. This dynamic is exactly what makes you the crucial backbone of the NCO ranks. It's the exact place where true leaders are made or broken.
Then you promote to sergeant at rank 5, and suddenly that number jumps to 13. 13 Marines. You're a squad leader now, and you hold their lives in your hands. The sergeant is the single most important tactical leader in the Marine Corps. Seriously. It's not the general planning from a command tent. It's you, the one down in the dirt with them. Out in the fields, you're the last voice they hear before contact. When missions inevitably go wrong, and trust me, they always go wrong, you are the one who adapts and ensures they survive. But it's also at this point where the easy, automatic promotions stop. The competition from here on out becomes incredibly fierce.
And that brings us to the real legends of the fleet, the staff NCOs. Once you hit, say, roughly a decade of service, the rules of the game change completely. At rank 6, you become a staff sergeant. You're no longer just managing a single squad. You are the platoon sergeant for 40 to 50 Marines. You essentially become the critical bridge connecting the commissioned officers above you and the enlisted Marines below you. You are the institutional memory. With 2 or 3 combat deployments under your belts, you're the one tasked with, well, politely explaining to brand new lieutenants why their fresh plans might actually get people killed. You see the problems forming, mental, physical, personal, and you stop those crises before they ever even happen. And then, at rank 7, you become a gunny. You know, that word carries a weight that no rank insignia can even come close to capturing. A gunnery sergeant is a whispered about, living legend within the unit. You're the ultimate expert in literally everything. Training schedules, logistics, discipline. When a captain really wants to know if the unit is truly ready for a deployment, they don't check a spreadsheet. No, they ask the gunny. But hitting this revered status brings you to a massive career crossroads.
At this point, you gotta make a choice. You can push toward Master Sergeant, which is the technical track. You become the ultimate specialist. Or you can push toward First Sergeant, the people track, the true voice of command. Both of these paths lead to immense power within the Marine Corps, but they look completely different in practice. You literally have to choose between mastering the incredibly complex intricacies of logistics and operations or mastering the direct command and care of people.
Which leads us directly into the realm of the senior enlisted, the true keepers of the culture.
If you choose that command track, your role becomes incredibly personal. 200. As a first sergeant at rank 8, that is how many men and women you manage in your company. This is without a doubt the most personal rank in the entire Marine Corps. You know all of them by name. You know who's struggling at home. You are part commander, part enforcer, and part counselor. When a Marine gets a tragic Red Cross message at 0300 in the morning that a parent has passed away, you are the one who walks into those barracks and sits with them. Nobody told you to do that. You just do it.
Advancing to rank 9, the sergeant major takes this cultural guardianship even further. You're advising the battalion commander, literally speaking for every single enlisted Marine when they can't speak for themselves. Think about it. You have given 20-plus years of grueling service. Your knees hurt, your back hurts, you've buried friends, but you are still here, pushing the standard. You are the uncompromising keeper of the culture. When a command climate starts to rot, you're the first one to see it, and you call it out, even when absolutely no one in power wants to hear.
Then we reach the absolute peak of the enlisted journey, rank 10, the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. And there is only one. You are personally selected by the Commandant to represent 180,000 enlisted voices directly to the absolute highest levels of the Department of Defense. You're sitting in rooms with politicians, telling them what is actually happening on the deck plates, regardless of what their polished briefing slides say. This is a diplomatic billet now. And your ultimate weapon? It's the credibility you've built over 30 years of doing everything right.
But what happens when we look at the officers? Let's talk about the weight of command.
Because at the very top of the officer ranks, all those physical burdens of the dirt and the barracks, they're completely replaced by an unimaginable psychological gravity. At rank 11, a 4-star general commands entire theaters of war. You're no longer just a warfighter, you're a strategist and a diplomat in uniform. You brief the president, you draw lines on maps, and people follow those lines into fire. The weight of that is just incomparable to any civilian title you can think of. Every Marine who dies in your theater died following your orders, and as a general, you carry that crushing, permanent weight forever.
And finally, at the absolute pinnacle, sits the Commandant of the Marine Corps. You are the highest-ranking Marine alive, sitting atop an institution that has existed since 1775. You're the one setting the vision for the entire Corps, where it trains, how it fights, what it stands for. But let me tell you, there is no peace at the top. You are constantly facing the relentless demands of Congress questioning your budget, all while navigating a chaotic world that constantly demands your Marines on the front lines.
But here's the thing you really have to think about. The Commandant built their entire life starting from that exact same set of yellow footprints in those 13 weeks of hell. Knowing the devastating cost, the friends they've had to bury, and the profound heavy honor of every single step up this ladder. What does the Commandant see when looking back? Because somewhere, right now, a 19-year-old recruit is standing on those exact same yellow footprints, having absolutely no idea what that journey will demand of them. If they knew the true unimaginable weight of that evolution, would they still take the first step?